On Tech News Today, Microsoft unveils Windows 10. We've got the details. Plus, Facebook is cracking down on fake news. And it looks like the world's biggest mobile phone maker is dropping the world's biggest mobile chip maker. It's all coming up next on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This is Tech News Today for Wednesday, January 21st, 2015. This episode is brought to you by Blue Apron. Blue Apron will send you all the ingredients to cook fresh, delicious meals with simple step-by-step instructions right to your door. See what's on the menu this week and get your first 2 meals free by going to blueapron.com/twit. That's blueapron.com/twit. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, and other Apple products are worth at Gazelle.com. Tech News Today is the show where we talk about the tech news with the journalists who report it. Welcome to the show. I'm Mike Elgan. We've got lots of news. Hopefully we'll be joined by our co-anchor today, and we'll try to get her on shortly. But first, let's jump right into the big news today. Microsoft's Windows 10, the next chapter event, kicked off this morning at 9 a.m. Pacific from Microsoft's corporate headquarters in Redmond, Washington. The event is still underway and will be continuing all day. Joining us to talk about what they've announced so far is Steve Ranger of ZDNet fame, joining us now. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, very well. Good to see you.
It's a sort of a work in progress. We're going to be covering this this event that is currently taking place. Now, you heard the broadcast so far this morning. To you, what is the biggest thing that's jumped out at you as the most important, or the thing that people need most of all to know about what they're announcing?
So I think the most interesting thing that's happened so far is they've been talking about how Windows 10 will be a free upgrade for people using Windows 8, Windows 8.1, and really interestingly, Windows 7 as well. So this is a really kind of aggressive move to make sure that everyone's using the latest version of Windows, trying to get as many people onto Windows 10 as quickly as they can. So that was kind of rumored, but it's still kind of quite a big deal that they're actually going to do it.
It really is, and we've heard from Terry Myerson and Joe Belfiore, both executive VPs for operating systems at Microsoft. Big demo by Joe Belfiore, and there was a huge push, clearly a huge push, for them to unify the mobile version of Windows 10 and the desktop version. They talked about them as if it was just the same operating system, and I think that's a very, very important thing for Microsoft to do. And there was a big starring role by Cortana. Joe Belfiore repeatedly referred to Cortana as she, and of course it has a female voice. And you know, a lot of new features for Cortana on the desktop of Windows 10. And I personally think that that's very, very important for them. As we said during our own live streaming broadcast, that I think that's important because they'll never catch Microsoft. Microsoft will never catch Google on the search engine front with Bing. I don't think they have a chance of doing that, but they do have a chance to compete against Google now with Cortana, especially if it's universally distributed on every single copy of Windows. And again, that version of Windows is free, so they're going to be heavy upgrades. What did you think of all the things that they talked about regarding Cortana today?
Yeah, so I think the stuff around mobile, you're absolutely right. This is about Microsoft trying to pull themselves back into the mobile game, because they've been finding it really hard to compete with Android and iOS. So there's been a lot of emphasis on how mobile is connected into everything that you'll do with Windows. It's interesting whether it'll actually persuade people to go out and buy a Windows phone instead of an Android or iOS device. I'm not entirely sure. Same with Cortana. It's interesting stuff, but I'm not sure it's enormously compelling right now. I struggle to see how people will want to have a kind of a spoken relationship with their PC. I think a PC is very much a keyboard-focused device, and I think it will continue to be so. But the idea of having Cortana across mobile and across PC is all about kind of emphasizing that ecosystem play. That Microsoft don't just want to sell you a PC; they want to sell you the gaming machine. They want to sell you a smartphone as well. So a lot of what they've been talking about is how that experience will spread across all of their devices, which is really interesting from a Microsoft point of view. But I wonder how much of that is interesting for a user. How likely are you to use Cortana on the desktop? I can see limited use cases for it, to be honest. I just don't see people talking to their machines either. Yeah, if you're working in cubicles, no, I can't see people kind of interrupting the flow of the office in that kind of way. But the idea of trying to spread their ecosystem a little bit further to encourage you to buy a smartphone as well as PC, yeah, from Microsoft's point of view, that absolutely works. Whether you'll really see the consumers grabbing that, yeah, that remains to be seen.
And of course, they have a big opportunity with the preemptive notifications in Cortana. If they're constantly reminding people on the desktop that, hey, I'm Cortana, I'm still here, I can help you. I saw this in your email, I'm going to help you get to the airport on time, that sort of thing. They may have a better shot. Now, can you talk very briefly about what they announced in terms of Continuum? What's new that they announced that we didn't already know?
So Continuum again is kind of interesting. It's not one that I think will necessarily leap out, and I don't think someone's going to go and say, right, I must go and must upgrade to Windows 10 just because of Continuum. But it's another of those elements inside the broader ecosystem that even if they don't make you upgrade to in and of themselves, it's something that maybe will stop you from going elsewhere. And maybe you'll think, yeah, okay, I've got Windows 8, but I'm going to go with Windows 10 because of all these little pieces that connect that broader ecosystem together. So in and of itself, interesting, not necessarily compelling to everyone, but some people may find it really interesting.
All right, we're going to be covering the Windows 10 announcement, which will be continuing all day. Our coverage will continue throughout the day. The next big chunk of information we'll give you is at 4 p.m. Pacific on Tech News tonight, and following that is a very special episode of Windows Weekly, our epic weekly show about all things Windows with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. You definitely want to catch that. That's, again, going to be around 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Again, a special time for Windows Weekly today. Steve Ranger is at zdnet.com, and you can follow him on Twitter at Steve Ranger. Thank you so much for jumping in and joining us about this Windows 10 announcement.
No problem.
All right. We got more news for you in a minute, but first, let's talk about Blue Apron, my favorite company these days. I have a conundrum. I'm a busy person, and I bet you are too. I'm hearing from a lot of our audience that they're busy professionals, and that creates a problem. You want to have a great home-cooked meal. You know, you don't want to spend a fortune at a restaurant and have an unhealthy meal at a restaurant, and you don't want to have to drive and park and all that stuff. And you don't want to have junk food or pull something out of the freezer or microwave something. You want a good home-cooked meal. Well, that's where Blue Apron comes in. Basically, it's a subscription service, and they'll send you 3 meals a week, and it ends up being about $9.99 per person. They don't prepare it for you. You prepare it, but they give you exactly what you need and very simple step-by-step instructions that takes you through preparing the entire meal. What I like about it is that it gets me way outside the narrow realm that I'm capable of cooking in personally. Very exotic foods, incredibly good flavors, and so on. And it makes me feel like I'm this professional chef or something, even though I really didn't know before I did the meal how to do this kind of preparation at all. It also teaches you how to cook. That's one of the things that's really exciting about it. Every time I do a Blue Apron meal, I learn a lot. I have a fantastic meal. And best of all, my wife, who usually does all the cooking because she's such a great cook, she gets the night off. She doesn't have to do the work of preparing the meal. So it's really great for everybody. And even if I'm running late, it usually takes like 20 minutes, 25 minutes to prepare a meal. They keep the calories at a very, very reasonable level, 500 and 700 calories per serving. And so you're not going to have any of the downsides of restaurant food, which is unhealthy and too high in calories and also too expensive. Everything about Blue Apron is just awesome, and you got to try it. See what's on the menu this week and get your first 2 meals free by going to blueapron.com/twit. That's right, the first 2 meals are free. Just go to blueapron.com and make sure you put the /twit at the end, and you'll get those free 2 meals, and check it out. We thank Blue Apron for their support of Tech News Today. Well, Katie Benner, our co-anchor today, is now joining us. Welcome to the show. Katie, how the heck are you?
I'm great, Mike. How are you?
I'm great, and thank you so much for coming on. It's kind of a crazy day, schedule-wise and otherwise today. So let's just jump into our second story here. As we reported yesterday on our other news show, Tech News Tonight, Facebook is cracking down on fake news. Will Oremus is a senior technology writer for Slate.com and joins us now. How are you, Will? Okay, we didn't catch that, Will. I just wanted to welcome you to the show. Now, how is Facebook suppressing false news stories on Facebook.com and on their mobile apps?
So Facebook manipulates its newsfeed in all kinds of ways. Every time you log into Facebook, as a lot of people know, it ranks all the stories that it could show you from top to bottom. What it's going to do is it's going to try to figure out which stories might actually be fake news, might be hoaxes that are going around, and it's going to make it a little less likely that you'll see them at the top of your feed when you log in. So it's not censoring stories, but what it is going to do is limit their distribution on Facebook, maybe make it a little less likely that a false story about Macaulay Culkin being dead or Paul Krugman being bankrupt or lemons saving you from cancer ends up going viral and fooling a lot of gullible people.
All right, so Will, you have your own proposals for how Facebook can stop the spread of viral news, viral false news. And I'm wondering how that differs from what the company's already doing.
Yeah, so we at Slate a couple months ago proposed, sort of out of the blue, to Facebook that they could be doing more to stop all these hoaxes from going viral. I mean, look, hoaxes can go viral anywhere, but Facebook has seemed particularly conducive to BS over the years, to put it bluntly. And so our idea was, look, they could do this algorithmically without asking anything further of their users. Maybe they could just look at the comments below a given story, and if they see the word hoax or the word debunked a lot in the comments, or if they see people posting links to Snopes.com in the comments when somebody posts the story, maybe they could take those as signals that this might be a hoax and maybe limit the reach of it. They haven't said that they're going to do it quite that way. What they came out with this week is that they're going to ask users explicitly when they see a story they don't like. There are a few different ways they can explain why they don't like it. They're now adding one that says it's a false news story. That's why I don't like to see this in my feed, because it's not true. When users do that, when a lot of people do that on the same story over time, Facebook will take that as a signal that the story might be false. Again, it's a probability thing. It's definitely false, but this might be a false story. We're not going to show that to as many people. They're also going to look at posts or photos or videos that a lot of people are deleting after posting them. So if I post something about how Sarah Palin is joining Al Jazeera as their new anchor, and then an hour later I delete that post, Facebook is going to take that as another signal that maybe that wasn't actually true.
Very interesting. You can read the rest of Will's post at slate.com, and you can follow Will at Will Oremus on Twitter. Thank you so much for joining us, Will.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Well, we've got some breaking news from the Microsoft Windows announcement. Microsoft just announced an 84-inch 4K display called a Surface Hub. It's basically a gigantic, it looks like a gigantic screen, a touch screen. It has cameras, speakers, microphones. Bluetooth, supports NFC. There are proximity sensors that detect when you approach the screen. Presumably that's Kinect technology. I've been predicting this for about 50 years. No, I've probably been predicting that they should get into a consumer big screen touch display for many years, and it looks like they're finally doing it. Hallelujah. So there it is. It's called the Surface Hub, and we'll have more information about that on Tech News tonight and also on our special episode of Windows Weekly at around 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Well, Apple has recently and quietly acquired a London-based company called Symmetric, which analyzes music downloads. The acquisition happened some time ago, but was revealed by a Wall Street Journal source. Symmetric's music metric analytics service tracks music sales, illegal downloads, and social networking mentions, according to the report by Lisa Fleisher. Lisa is a tech reporter for the Wall Street Journal, and she joins us now to talk about this and one other story that she wrote. Welcome to you, Lisa.
Well, thanks so much, Mike.
Sorry we're running late here. Now, can you tell us more about what Symmetric is and what the company does?
Sure. But before I get into that, I just want to correct by Music Ally, a music analytics research and news site here in London. But I will tell you about the story. So basically, the company has an analytics firm that is able to track listens, social media mentions, and also, crucially, illegal downloads of music. So artists can see who's listening to their music, when they're listening to it, and maybe get a sense of whether their content, whether their music and creative materials are being downloaded illegally.
So how do you think that Apple is going to use this new technology?
So Apple obviously bought Beats earlier this year, and Beats is not just a headphone maker, but it's also a music streaming service. So now it has this music streaming service. It wants to be able to provide artists with a way to see how their music is being listened to and shared. later this year, the Wall Street Journal has been reporting that we expect them to relaunch Beats. And we think that they are going to use this as a way to present Beats as sort of the artist-friendly place. As you guys will remember, Spotify got into a little bit of trouble earlier this year when Taylor Swift, you want to take this opportunity to put up an image of Taylor Swift, said that she was pulling her music from Spotify because she didn't think she was being fairly compensated. So hopefully, I think some of the analysts that I've spoken with say that Apple is going to use this as a way to be seen as the artist-friendly platform.
And that's always been Beats' intention, and also Apple's intention with the acquisition of Beats. Now, you wrote another story yesterday reporting that Shazam is valued at around $1 billion. Shazam, of course, can identify songs by listening to them and enabling the user to buy the song. How did they arrive at this valuation?
What they did was they sold, Shazam sold about 3% stake in the company for roughly $30 million. So, I mean, $30 million, 3% stake, then you just do the math, that's $1 billion valuation. That's how these valuations work. To me, what was really interesting about this was that Shazam is just sort of one of these apps we've all had on our phones forever. I mean, I think it was definitely one of the first apps that I downloaded. And it was really one of the first companies that allowed you to see kind of the way that smartphones could be used. It was one of these technologies that inspired, I think, people to figure out ways to use the technology that we all have in the new smartphones when the iPhone first came out. But really, it's been around since 2002. I didn't actually realize this because I didn't use it in this way, but you could dial up Shazam and call in and hold the cell phone up to the speaker, and then it would send you a text message back with the name of the song. So it's been this music identification service for a really long time, but what it really wants to be known as now is a way to discover more information about the world around you. So, for example, if you are, the CEO said if he wants people in Grand Central to be able to maybe Shazam, whether it's like a QR code or a barcode, or maybe it's a piece of music, and be able to say, let me get access to a map of Grand Central, or maybe some subway information or coupons for stores nearby.
So more companies are building Shazam's main music identification feature into their own companies. I'm wondering what you think will happen to Shazam.
Right, and that's one of the competitive threats that Shazam is having to deal with right now, and I think one of the reasons it's moving into more of an advertising play. There's companies such as Amazon and Google are trying to incorporate their own technology to recognize music, and I mean, Shazam argues that, well, we've got this massive database, we're the best at it, we're really hard to catch up with, but I mean, we're talking about Google here, so it's not like they don't have 1 million engineers and maybe access to a little bit of money where they could maybe get a database themselves going. So that's why they're really pushing to be a little bit broader here. And one of the things that they've done, which is a huge market, is move into TV. That's going to be a little tough because I think even though, who's going to Shazam a commercial unless there's a really big, there's some sort of value in it on the other, for me to do that. And Shazam knows that. I mean, the company executives are kind of treading a little bit lightly here, even though it's a massive market. And they know that they don't want to give people an experience where if you hit that Shazam button and you just sort of get a coupon back and maybe like, who cares? I don't really, like, this isn't really cool or interesting. It doesn't have that kind of Shazam wow feel. That they said that they would reject like advertising that wasn't special enough.
Very interesting. Lisa Fleisher is at WSJ.com, and you can follow her on Twitter at Lisa Fleisher. Thank you for joining us, Lisa.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.
All right, you too. More breaking news from the Microsoft event. Microsoft has unveiled a platform called, it's called Microsoft Holographic, Windows Holographic. It's basically a virtual reality environment that makes things appear. It's like augmented reality. They're calling it virtual reality, but it's really augmented reality. It looks like a hologram appears right there in the 3D space that you're looking at through a special goggles of some kind. They're demoing that now. Of course, we'll have more coverage of that again on Tech News tonight at 4 p.m. Pacific and at our special Windows Weekly broadcast at around 4:30 p.m. Pacific. So check in for that. Looks like some really exciting stuff that they're announcing, and we'll have all the details with the industry's leading experts, Mary Jo Foley and Paul Thurrott. That's at 4:30 p.m. again. Well, Samsung plans to drop Qualcomm's and use its own processor for the upcoming Galaxy S smartphone, according to an exclusive by Bloomberg. Samsung's internal testing of the Qualcomm Snapdragon 810 chip revealed overheating problems, according to Bloomberg's sources, and also according to Samsung via those sources. The decision for the world's largest smartphone maker to stop using the top-of-the-line processor from the world's largest smartphone chip maker could be really bad news for Qualcomm. The Galaxy S phone is expected in March at the earliest. Katie Benner, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what's going on here. On the one hand, you might want to trust Samsung in saying that they are experiencing overheating problems, but on the other hand, they'd kind of like to get their own smartphone chip manufacturing business off the ground, and this is one way to do it. Other companies who also are using this chip, including Xiaomi and LG, say they're having no such problems, and they're going forward with use of the 810 in their own devices. What do you think? Is this a play for the chip market, or are they really having problems with this chip?
I think that Samsung has come out and said that they are trying to focus on their components business a little bit more now that their mobile business is flatlining. We all know they've had a lot of troubles, especially because of the introduction of the Apple iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus, and that Samsung needs to sort of ramp up revenues in other parts of the business. So the company itself has said that they want to do this with components. I think that it's not an unreasonable assumption to, at the very least, say this is really good for Samsung and that this should help them.
Absolutely. And it also has to be said that you don't just have, you know, smartphone processors lying around. It takes many, many years to tool a factory, to design it, to get it all ready to go. It's not like you can just pull it out in 2 months, you have a chip in your phones. They've been working on these processors and also be able to produce them at the kind of scale that Samsung is likely to need them at. And so this is probably something that's been in the works for quite a while. And they may be exaggerating, they may not be, but you know, they're for their own reasons going with their own processor, and of course they're going to be wanting to sell those same processors to Qualcomm customers and compete directly with Qualcomm. So we'll be watching the story and see how they do on that front. We'll see how those processors perform in direct head-to-head tests against the Snapdragon 810. Well, in just a minute, we've got some updates for you, but first, let's talk about Gazelle. Gazelle will buy your used gadgets if you've got one lying around. I know I always have, no matter how many devices I sell to Gazelle, I always open a drawer at some point and I'm like, oh, wow, I forgot about that. I think I'll sell it to Gazelle and get more money. And I do that because it's so incredibly easy to do. You basically just go to the website, you indicate what the device is that you have, you show what the condition is of that device, and they'll give you a price. And then you just let them know, yep, I want to do this. They send you a box, throw it in the box, off it goes, and then you get paid. It's really a wonderful thing. And for a long time, people have been asking me, well, you know, they buy all these phones, but where can I buy one from them? Where can I buy one of the phones that they have purchased from people? And of course, now Gazelle will sell you directly. And this is a fantastic service because if you want to buy a device and you've got a certain budget, you know, you can either buy a second-rate phone brand new, or you can buy a top-rate phone from Gazelle. And it's if you get the, you know, they have 2 levels basically for the conditions of these phones. One is certified like new. That's just like a phone that's indistinguishable from a brand new phone. And certified good, which is, you know, it might have a little scratch here and there, but it's still perfectly functional because Gazelle puts everything through a rigorous 30-point inspection to make sure everything is fully functional. And of course, if you get the certified good option, you get an incredible price. You get a great phone at an incredible price. So it's really a great deal all the way around. Find out what your iPhone's worth. Take a minute and go to Gazelle.com to find out. We reported in December, on December 4th actually, that Amazon introduced a new line of diapers exclusively to Amazon Prime members. Now Amazon needs to change those diapers. The company says that based on early customer feedback, they're making some design improvements. It sounds like they've had some diaper fails. Katie, I don't want to know the details.
Well, if you also look at the announcement, it seems like they're trying to go for this sort of all-natural, safe elements, safe ingredients sort of approach. And so I wonder how much of this is also driven by competition from companies like The Honest Company that are really popular with parents because they feel that they're safer for their children.
Yeah, and I'd like to take them at face value as well, and to know that they're listening to customer feedback. The diapers are actually rated as sort of in the middle. They're not, universally panned, nor are they universally praised by customers. So we'll see what kind of diapers they come up with next. We told you yesterday about a report on The Information saying that Google was talking to Elon Musk's SpaceX about Google investing at least $10 million in the company. Now we've learned that Google and Fidelity together are investing $1 billion, which will give them ownership of about 10% of the company. SpaceX is a space transport company founded by Tesla CEO Elon Musk. And, Katie Benner, they are, Elon Musk is in the news a lot. SpaceX is in the news a lot these days. And, it sounds to me like Google might want to get in on this satellite project they announced recently, where Elon Musk essentially said on Twitter that he wants to blanket the globe with low-orbit satellites that will bring low-cost, high-speed internet connectivity to the entire world, the third world, the first world, all worlds, the whole world. And that sounds like the kind of thing that Google's been working on with their Project Loon Balloons and other initiatives. And now they own 10% of SpaceX. It's a pretty interesting investment.
Sure, of course. I think that during the first .com boom, we saw a couple of companies try to do something similar. And of course, it didn't work out, but the idea was not a bad one. And I think Elon Musk addressed that as well, saying that the first iteration of those companies, they didn't anticipate the sorts of gains that were going to be made by terrestrial internet connectivity, by the broadband providers and the phone providers. So what he wants to do is create a company that anticipates great strides in what we have already with broadband and phone, and create something that when it launches in, sorry about the pun, but when it launches in 5 years or so, will be able to be competitive. And then for Fidelity, this is a great investment too, because Fidelity is a mutual fund company that invests mostly in publicly traded stocks. So you've seen Fidelity and T. Rowe Price and BlackRock and other big mutual fund companies start doing late-stage private investments because it gives them a way to get to know the companies that they might want to buy when they have an IPO and to already have a stake in them. SpaceX has a huge valuation, and people are wondering how much longer it can stay private.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in other news, who says there's no innovation in mobile phone handset design? Japan's Y-Mobile plans to start selling in March a red heart-shaped phone called the Heart 401AB. The phone is split in the middle. To use it, you twist the phone 180 degrees to turn the heart into a peanut shape for actually talking on the phone. A minimalist screen shines through the plastic, and you select numbers by awkwardly scrolling through digits with a down-swiping motion. It's a very unusual phone, kind of strange. We'll see if it has any sales, and it's a bit of a throwback because, of course, that screen looks like it's something from 2002 or something. The charger plug is also red and heart-shaped. What do you think, Katie? You going to dump your iPhone and get one of these?
I'm only going to say that I feel deeply uncomfortable looking at that phone.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
And the bottom of the heart looks really pointy. That's gonna put somebody's eye out. Well, a Polish startup is working on a PC that's built into a mouse. It's called the Mouse Box, and it looks like an ordinary mouse. But inside is a full computer with flash storage, Wi-Fi connectivity, and all the rest. The mouse connects directly to a monitor via HDMI, and the mouse has 2 USB 3.0 ports on the back so you can plug in a keyboard and other peripherals. The startup is looking for manufacturing partners and hopes to produce the mouse box for sale internationally this year. Katie Benner, this is like the greatest idea I have ever seen. If you got a mouse, that's enough space for a complete PC. I love this idea and I want one.
It's amazing. Things are getting so tiny that I think we're going to see computers and hardware available to more people all over the world. I am not sure if the mouse box will be the device that, brings hardware to everyone, but it is very cool.
For geeks like me and you and our audience here, I think this is the kind of thing that, the super geeks are going to want to do. I love this video, too, this promotional video. They show the poor cubicle worker sitting there slaving away, and he's goofing around with his own personal computer, which is built into his mouse. And then the boss comes up to ask him about his TPS reports, and he throws a switch, and he's back to the spreadsheet on the company's network. So they're pitching it as a way for you to basically have your personal PC with you at all times at work while you're working, and without any apparent signs. You're just using a shiny red mouse. Nothing to see here. Move along. Well, a new Tumblr blog exists to showcase the internet's best passive-aggressive opt-out phrases. You know, when they want you to sign up for something and the no option tries to make you feel bad about saying no. One example on the blog is a sign up for a newsletter subscription about creativity. The options are yes, please, and no thanks, I hate creativity. A pitch for a home fitness sweepstakes wants you to enter a contest to win a treadmill. The options are enter to win and no thanks, I don't like winning free things. All right, one more example because I just love these. Women's Health magazine offers a 21-day bikini body plan as an incentive to subscribe to the magazine. The sign-up options are get my bikini body and no thanks, I already have a bikini body. That's the one I'm going to choose, Katie Benner. I love this blog because, you know, we've all seen these, but to bring them into a single blog and see them all together, it's pretty hilarious.
People are awful, but
they really are. But I love the passive aggressive nature of these things. Well, our TNT fan of the day is Matt Lockyer, who posted this picture of the view while summiting Vancouver's Mount Seymour while he was listening to Tech News Today. That is a beautiful shot there. And of course, he lives in Vancouver as well. How do you watch or listen to TNT? Just record a video or take a picture of your setup and post it on Google+, Twitter, or Facebook. And use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT, and we will find it. That is the Tech News Today. Katie Benner, thank you so much for joining us. What are you working on, and where can people read it when you're done working on it?
Well, they should go to BloombergView.com for tech columns written by myself and then opinion columns on all sorts of topics. Today, I published 2 stories on the State of the Union address, looking at Obama's comments both on surveillance and civil liberties, as well as security and cybersecurity. So please feel free to come by or find me on Twitter at Katie Benner.
Fantastic. I can't wait to read that. I watched the State of the Union address last night. Loved his zinger about he won twice. That was a good one. Loved the fact that Michelle Obama was wearing the same dress that Katie Florrick wore on an episode of The Good Wife. That was a lot of fun as well. But the real substance, which you're writing about, not the fluff that I was zeroing in on, is the real meat of the issue. And so that'll be, I'm certain that's going to be a really great analysis of what the president is proposing, what he's talking about, and what the likely outcome will be, which in some cases might not be very much. But I want to thank you for that. And again, thank you for co-anchoring today, and we'll see you next week.
Have a great day. Thank you.
All right, you too. You can subscribe to Tech News Today on Feedly, and please leave a review and let us know how you like the show. We love your feedback. You can choose your favorite way to subscribe at twit.tv/TNT, and you can also watch us live every weekday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC at live.twit.tv or on the app or browser plugin of your choice. You can follow us on Twitter at Tech News Today TV, and you can follow me personally on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/mike.elgan and click the follow button or the like button or whatever it is. And please send us your thoughts and opinions to TNT@twit.tv or call 260-TNT-SHOW. Don't miss our evening newscast, Tech News Tonight at 4 p.m. Pacific tonight and every weeknight right here on the Twit Network. And tonight we'll be talking about Windows 10, and also following TN2, is our special time for Windows Weekly this week. My name's Mike Elgan. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.